Any word on Jan Kottman, his injuries?
This guy has a sprained foot. Should be okay in 2 to 3 weeks.
So back for the opener, basically?
Hopefully a little sooner than that. Hopefully he can practice before the opening game so he has a chance to play. If he doesn't practice, he won't play.
In the meantime, what's the plan for the defensive tackle position with him out of practice? Like young guys like Payne Eliyahi and Malcolm Jackson step up, or would you consider moving some of the defensive ends inside? Or
Yeah, yesterday when we didn't have Kottman, we put Don Trill in there. So John Trill will play both defensive end and nose.
so right now he's kind of your backup defensive tackle.
Mm-hmm. In fact, if we played tomorrow, he'd be the backup. He'd be probably the backup at left defensive end and at nose tackle.
Coach, any thoughts on the Penn State announcement that you will be playing Penn State at 2020?
Yeah, I think it's exciting, but it's 2 years away.
Coach, you talked about Adam needing to improve on his accuracy. It's been a week now of practice. Do you think he's improving? Does he look good?
I think the last 2 days he's thrown the ball really well. I think he works really hard at it, and he's getting better as we go. Hopefully he continues to improve so that we're ready to go the first game.
The corners, have there been any progress there?
Yeah, they're still fighting it out. That's the progress. It goes daily. One day one of them looks okay, and the next day somebody else looks okay. So no one, if you're asking, no one has stepped up and said I'm the starter and proved it anyway. We probably got 6 guys think they're the starter. It's an easy one, huh? Nothing to talk about.
Rocky, maybe just to assess a little bit what you're going to be looking for when you go into the scrimmage this weekend.
We scrimmaged a little bit Saturday night, and we scrimmaged last night. We'll scrimmage Wednesday night, and then the biggest scrimmage where we actually get the most plays in for the guys that are going to play during the season is Saturday. They'll probably get, our first team will get 40 to 50 snaps on both offense and defense, and it'll be the last time we play against each other. Right now we're scrimmaging. It's our offense against our defense. As soon as that scrimmage is over, now everything we do will be against Eastern Illinois. So basically, scrimmaging's out the window, and we start game planning, and we use scout teams. So it'll be the last chance for somebody to prove they're the starting corner, or someone to prove they're playing well enough to play in the game. We're going to do some live special teams work to see who the best guys are on special teams, because we have a limited travel roster, and if you are good enough on all 4 special teams, you automatically are on the travel roster, whether you're playing on offense or defense. So there's it's more about them proving that they can play at the level we need to play than it is offense versus defense. I mean, the best thing that can happen when we scrimmage is the offense look good at sometimes, and then the defense look good at some time. That's what's happened over the last 2 scrimmages. One day the defense dominated, and last night the offense was much better. Now that means one of 2 things. That means we're going to be a pretty good football team because we can play both, or it means we're very, very average.
Coach, so what's the format for the scrimmage? Like 1D versus 2-0, or 1D?
No, we go ones against ones all the time. Now, the plan is that we're going to go running clock. If you saw the spring game, we'll go 2 halves of 30 minutes, and it'll be a running clock except for the last 2 minutes of the half in the game. And that took about an hour, and last year we got about 80 plays in. So that's right within the range of 40 to 50 plays for both the first and second team, close. Now you will see a lot of guys changing though, and we won't have different colored jerseys on, so you'll see some of what is on the depth chart as second teamers working with the first teamers on both offense and defense. So it's not truly ones against ones and twos against twos, because there'll be some guys switching back and forth. And there'll be some guys we take out early in the scrimmage on the ones. So basically a two will be running with the ones. So it's all about evaluation. It's not about who does well in the scrimmage other than personally, so we can evaluate that they're ready to play for us.
Would you say that the starters who end up, I guess the people you end up naming as starters in the scrimmage are likely going to be the people who end up starting Eastern Illinois?
Yeah, I think that we'll come out with the new depth chart the Monday after the scrimmage, and if they're listed as a starter, that's probably, if nothing happens, nobody gets hurt, that probably is who's going to start against Eastern Illinois.
Rocky, you mentioned your special teams roster. How is your special teams shaping up?
You can't really tell. I mean, we evaluate the kickers every day. We chart them and see how they're doing. And the punters, we chart that every day. So we kind of have a running total of how they're doing against each other. But we don't do any live special teams work until the scrimmage. And so now we've practiced a lot, but it's all kind of what we call thud, which means nobody really hits anybody. And because I think the most dangerous play in football is probably kickoff and kickoff return. And a lot of the special teams are very dangerous, so you'll scrimmage a lot more playing offense and defense than you do with the kicking game. But Saturday we're going to scrimmage the kicking game with scout teams, but it's going to be live, so we'll get to evaluate the players on the teams.
Have you given any thought? Coach McGarry said that, I mean, there is a possibility that you could end up having one guy do punts, place kicks, and kickoffs. If that's the case, would you travel like a backup on when you go on away games, or how would you?
No, you wouldn't. No, because if it was one guy, yeah, I see what you're saying. You're exactly right. If it was one guy doing all of them, you'd have to carry an extra punter and an extra kicker.
So you'd have to have three.
Because we only have one guy out there that can do all of them. So if he happened to be the guy, you'd still take another kicker and another punter.
Okay, so it's not like you're saving the seats on the plane.
No, you're not saving any seats on the plane. And if the first week and a half of practice or so, or first week or so of practice, I would have no idea. I mean, there might be specialties. One guy kicks off, one guy kicks field goals, and one guy punts.